thank you for checking out Realistic Customizable Roads. In this tutorial, I will show you how to use the features of Realistic Customizable Roads, and you will see how easy and fast you can get great results. Roads that'll suit any project. Let's get into it. Realistic Customizable Roads works by randomization of a material. The material was created in Substance Designer, where it was randomized, then brought to Unreal, where it is further randomized. The result is a road that looks infinitely non-repeating. The road materials are provided in 4K and 8K. 4K is randomized by dividing it into 4 sections, 2 rows and 2 columns, for a total of 24 non-repeating patterns, whereas 8K is divided into 16 sections of 4 rows and 4 columns, which achieves the result of just under 21 trillion non-repeating patterns. The result is great-looking roads that can be achieved easily and fast. They seem infinitely non-repeating and therefore achieve a very realistic look. Let's get started with making our first customized road. The folder structure of Realistic Customizable Roads is divided into curbs, decals, maps, roads, sidewalks, signs, streetlights, and traffic lights. Let's navigate to the roads, and you will see that the roads are divided into materials, meshes, and textures. We're going to go to the meshes folder. Under the meshes folder, you'll see the 4K roads and the 8K roads. There are 2 road presets provided, Road Style 1 and Road Style 2. Road Style 1 is an older looking road, more dried out asphalt. Road Style 2 is a newer looking road with fresher asphalt. Let's go to Road Style 1. I'll go to 8K and I'll choose a pre-cut mesh with an 18 meter width, and I'll take the 18 meter by 128 meter section. Let's bring that up and I'll rotate it to 90 degrees. With the road section selected, we can find the material instance applied to the section on the right side of the editor. Hit the Browse button to locate the material instance. Double-click it to open it. In the material instance, we can see many options available to us. Let's take a look at using cracks. If the option is not already highlighted, you can do so by checking the box next to Use Cracks. To turn cracks on, simply check the box. The shader will take a moment to process, and now we see we have cracks applied to the road surface. The cracks look good, but perhaps we do not want cracks across the entire piece. Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5 both have Mesh Paint mode. The difference is the editor window styles. I will show you both. In Unreal Engine 5, in the upper left corner, go to the Select Mode drop-down. Click it and select Mesh Paint. In Unreal Engine 4, on the top toolbar, locate the Modes drop-down. Click it and choose Mesh Paint. Now we are in Mesh Paint mode. The options are the same between Unreal Engine 4 and Unreal Engine 5. The only difference is the layout. I will continue it on Unreal Engine 5, but the same options apply in Unreal Engine 4. Currently, we are on Select. We use this to make sure we have selected the mesh that we want to paint. Our mesh is selected, so now we will choose Paint. With Paint selected, let's find Color Painting in the Paint options. Currently on our channels, we have red, green, and blue all checked. On Realistic Customizable Roads, the cracks are painted under red. So let's go ahead and uncheck green and blue for now. We'll come to those later. With red selected, we're ready to paint cracks or paint them off. Currently, on Paint Color, under Vertex Painting, we are on white. Our size is 0.25. Our strength is 0.5. As you can see, as I move the brush around, all of the vertices are highlighted. On Realistic Customizable Roads, the road pieces are divided into 0.5 meter sections. This brush size is a little too large, so let's adjust it down. On size, let's go for 0.05. That seems a little more manageable. Let's adjust the strength to 1, and let's left click and drag. As you can see, nothing is changing. This is because the paint color is still set to white. Let's use the Swap Paint and Erase Colors toggle next to the white. Now we have switched to black. Now if we left click and drag, you can see that we are erasing or painting away the cracks. The same effect can be achieved by holding Shift and left clicking and dragging. This swaps the black and white as well. Once the road cracks are to our liking, we can take a look at the next feature. Let's take a look at Use Tire Wear on the material instance. This feature applies tire wear discoloration to the road. In the real world, tires leave marks on asphalt. Whether the tire marks are lighter or darker depends on the type of asphalt and how old the road is usually. We can achieve the same effects in Realistic Customizable Roads. Let's try using tire wear now. To use tire wear, first make sure the box is checked next to Use Tire Wear. Then check the box to turn it from false to true. As you can see, the tire wear discoloration has applied to our whole mesh, so we'll need to do some subtractive painting. The tire wear color is generated under the green channel of the mesh paint. So let's change from red to green. Now if we paint, we'll actually be erasing the tire wear discoloration. Typically, on old roads, the wear discoloration will be darker, whereas on newer roads, the wear discoloration will be lighter. Under the tire wear options on the material instance, you can change the tire wear color. Let's check the box next to tire wear color. Now, click the color. You can adjust the color value to your desired level, darker or lighter, or even add a hue. I'm going to say I took it too far and I don't like the results. So on the material instance, I will simply hit Control Z to undo my changes. That looks better. I'll stick with that. Now let's take a look at adding some wetness to our road, as if it has just rained. We're still in mesh paint mode. Let's go back to normal for just a moment. Let's switch from mesh paint mode back to select mode. On the material instance, under wetness, check the box next to use wetness. Now, check the box to set it to true. Now we have many little moisture points on the low areas of the road to give the look of a post-rain. This is achieved by macro variation so that no matter what, however you position your pieces and curbs and sidewalks, it will coordinate and never achieve a cutoff on any wetness section. Under wetness, we also have the option to use fully wet. Let's say it's just rained after a very large thunderstorm. We'll go ahead and check use fully wet and then toggle it to true. Now the piece is entirely wet. That might look nice in some situations, but let's say the sun has come out and now the moisture is starting to dry up. I'm going to go ahead and turn off fully wet and just use wetness alone. But say I want some deeper puddle points. This is just shallow moisture on the surface of the road, but I want some deep puddles that have reflectiveness to them. This is achieved by going under the material instance and going to puddles. We'll check use puddles. Then we'll go ahead and toggle it to true. This is a mesh paint feature, so we're going to have to change our mode back to mesh paint. In the upper left, I'll change the mode to mesh paint. Making sure our piece is selected, I will go ahead and switch to paint. Puddles are painted under the blue channel. So under color painting, I will now switch from green to blue. Now, when I left click and drag, I'm creating puddles. The puddle is deeper water and has a reflectiveness to it. It also has some rippling motion from wind effect. To get good results with puddles, I recommend setting a lower strength. Let's bring it down to about 0.4. We'll try that. The jagged edges are unavoidable with vertex painting, but we can soften it out by bringing the strength down and then just starting to dab. That's starting to look a little better. We can also get a good effect by joining moist points on the road. Here are two next to each other. Let's try filling it in with a deeper area of water between them. Again, I'm just dabbing. There we go. That's not too bad. With a little work, you can get great looking results. Okay, I'm done with painting puddles. Now I'm going to switch back from mesh paint mode to select mode. Let's say we want to change the overall color of our road. The road consists of two materials, the uncracked layer and the cracked layer. Under Road Color on the Material instance, you can find Road Color Material 1 and Road Color Material 2. Let's check the box next to Road Color Material 1. Now check the Material Color selector. Let's try adjusting the gray value. I'll bring it down. That's making a darker asphalt. Okay, I'll try to leave it there. Now I'll check the box next to Road Color Material 2. Let's click the color selector and adjust the gray value. Now this is adjusting the gray value of the cracked material. With these options, we can create a newer or older asphalt. In other words, a fresher, darker asphalt, or an older, more dried out asphalt. You can use any mesh piece you want with Realistic Customizable Roads material. To demonstrate this, I've prepared a circular piece in Blender. The only thing that matters is that the mesh has sufficient vertices. Back over in Unreal, I've imported the mesh I just made. Under RC Roads, Roads, Materials, and then Materials, I'll create a material instance out of one of the materials. I'll right click and choose Create Material Instance. Now I will take that material instance and place it onto my mesh. You'll see that the gravel size does not match between my new mesh and one of the standard pre-cut meshes included in RC Roads. To adjust for this, we'll go to the material instance we just created and open it. Scrolling down, we'll find Material 1 Settings and Material 2 Settings. Under each of these is a tiling variable. Tiling 1 for Material 1 and Tiling 2 for Material 2. Currently we are looking at Material 1 and it is set at 2. If we scale the number up, the gravel will become smaller. If we bring it back down, it will become larger. Let's try a setting of around 0.56. Pretty close. Now we need to adjust for the cracked layer, but we'll need to make the cracked layer display. Let's scroll back up to Cracks and turn on Use Cracks and set it to True. Now we can see cracks. Scrolling back down, I'll go to Material 2 Settings and Tiling 2. We'll bring this number back down and set it also to 0.56. That's about right. Using this feature, we can add the roads material to any mesh and then scale it accordingly. Now let's take a look at some of the other settings available on the road material. I'll use the piece we used in the earlier example. I'll open the material instance. For now, I'm going to turn off wetness and puddles. Scrolling down to Material 1 Settings, I'll check the box next to Randomize Seed 1. Adjusting this value will adjust the pattern of the gravel. Similarly, on Material 2 Settings, Randomize Seed 2 will also adjust the pattern of the cracked material. On Material 2 Settings, I'll adjust the Shift X2 value. This will change the position of the cracked material on the x-axis. The Shift Y2 value will change the position of the cracked material on the y-axis. Similarly, Material 1 also has these variables. I've adjusted the angle of the sun using a standard Unreal feature by holding Ctrl L and positioning it. This is simply so I can show better the cracks at an angle. Under cracks in the material instance, I'm going to check the box next to cracks normal intensity. Adjusting this value raises or lowers the intensity of the normal. This will give a cracked, harsh, rough look at a higher value, or a much smoother look at a lower value. Like the roads, the sidewalks material also has a randomizable feature. I will go to the material instance applied to this piece, open it, and scroll down to the material settings. I will check the box next to Randomize Seed and then adjust the value to change the tiling on this particular sidewalk piece. Now let's take a look at traffic lights. To give a sense of scale, I've simply used the Unreal Engine default starter content sports car. The traffic lights come in two timings, A and B. The traffic lights are located in the traffic lights folder. Specifically, the blueprints are under blueprints. As you can see, each blueprint is listed as either timing A or timing B. The traffic lights with street lights on top, as seen here, also have both a day and night version. Night, of course, having the light on. This is a relatively simple setup, and if you're familiar with curves, the curves are also located in the traffic lights blueprints folder. These can be easily adjusted. RC Roads also comes with a variety of curb type pieces. The curb type pieces and road pieces are designed in dimensions to fit together to make complete sets, much like building blocks. The different pieces of curbs can be used to create a variety of features, such as emergency zones, loading zones, and parking zones. The assembly of these pieces together consists of the following: a road piece, curb and sidewalk pieces, a sidewalk crossing piece, or a sidewalk zone piece, and at intersections where two road pieces meet, a road piece filler to meet and connect the dimensions of road A, road B, the sidewalk dimensions, and the gap left between. Together, these building blocks can make a complete road. Here where I had old road meet new road, I had to compensate for the fact the old road had side streets. This caused a dimension gap between the new road and the old road, which was filled with the road filler pieces. The road filler pieces are designed to fill the gap, whatever your design. The road filler pieces, like the main road pieces, are located under roads, meshes, and then intersection fillers. Just like roads, they're divided into 4K and 8K. Intersections are also found here, and similarly are divided into 4K and 8K. Curbs are located under curbs and then under meshes. Just like the roads, they are divided into 4K and 8K variants. Additionally, they have a road piece attached to them and therefore have road style preset 1 and road style preset 2 ready to go. Here in the overview map, I've shown how these pieces fit together: the curbs, the road pieces, and the filler pieces in an exploded view. To add further realism, both sidewalks and curbs and drains have puddles available on mesh paint. Simply paint on the water and you've got a very convincing look. Some decals have been provided to make sure you have everything you need to get started. Let's take a look at some of them now. Under decal cracks and then decals, you'll find fine cracks. These can be useful for creating variation on the sidewalk or on the road, a very subtle touch of discoloration and streaking. Road marking decals have also been provided to make sure you can get started on building lanes and crosswalks. Road marking decals are located under Decal Road Markings, Decals, and Material Instances. You will find white and yellow. Scale them to size to create whatever you needed. For example, I'll put down a white line to create a road marking. This is too big for a dashed lane mark, so I'm going to have to resize it. First I'll start by rotating it, and then getting it roughly in position. I'll go to snap size 5 here on the grid. It's going to be about here. Now I'll work on getting it down to size. Somewhere about there. I'll line up again, change my snap size back to 100, and move it out. Once you have one placed, I suggest using Alt and left click to move out a duplicate. Then space them as you see fit. I find that using decals for road markings helps create a more natural and human feel. For example, here, the markings are not quite lined up. In the real world, markings are often not perfectly aligned. Finally, for decals, under Decal Road Patches, Decals, and Material Instances, we have some road patches and one decal that could be grime or a road patch. Let's take a look at this one. On the sidewalk, it could be a stain, wet spot, or something spilt. On the road, it could be a road patch where a variation of asphalt has been used to fill in. The crack fill decals are the type of crack fill they use to keep cracks from spreading in asphalt. One is thicker, one is thinner. On the topic of realism, a subtle touch achieves a lot. Often roads cracks form along the path of the tires. In this example, I created cracks along the tire paths and also added tire wear discoloration. Because this road is older, I went for a darker discoloration on it. Whereas on this newer road, I went for a lighter discoloration and no cracks. Newer roads often are not yet cracked, and the discoloration is from dust from the tires being carried along. At corners, cracks often spread a little more because the load distribution as the car turns is putting more directional forces on the asphalt. Not only is the car traveling in a straight path, it is turning, so the vector is constantly changing. Therefore, I put a few more cracks at the corner where cars would be turning. Stop signs have also been provided. In cities, stop signs are often on metal poles or attached to the back of streetlights. A wooden one has also been provided. That's it for this tutorial. Thanks for checking out Realistic Customizable Roads. Please leave any questions and I'll be sure to respond. Have a good day.